Hello, everybody. My name is Robert. Okay. Um, I like talking about football and stuff, and I just want to talk about football and stuff with you tonight. So, as some of you know, or may not know, so I support Liverpool and have done since I can ever remember. Basically, I just want to sort of say about people have been saying about how badly Liverpool have been this season, and putting the blame on COVID, Klopp, the players, and things like that. It's a mixture of everything, if I'm honest, by the looks of things. As I say, it could be a lot of things. We just don't know what could be the main sort of trigger behind it all, as to why Liverpool have been playing not exactly so bad, but in recent weeks, like this is a season like no other. Like there's no question about that. The back of last season was pretty much a similar sort of flow, where a lot of the times you were having, like away teams win matches that they wouldn't have maybe not as what have won, and things like that because of the no crowd situation and that. Plus you've had players who have maybe tested positive for coronavirus and things like that as well on top of that, which sort of throws in a mix as well. People did call for whenever Liverpool were going to win the league last season, that they were all calling for the league not to be continuing and things like that and stuff like that, just to null and void it because of the coronavirus. And obviously, because that happened, a lot of people were disappointed that Liverpool went on to win the league, and things like that. Obviously, I wasn't, but at the end of the day, health is more important than anything. But it's one of those ones where, yes, health is important, not just your actual general health, but like our mental health, and things like that as well. And that's mental health has taken a toll on a lot of people this year. This year and last year, more so, because of the way things have been. And it's not right on everybody. It's just one of those things. But the main thing I want to talk about here tonight is football. So I'm just about to check to see what the score is in the current match that's playing at the moment in the Premier League. I haven't actually seen any score tonight from the match. So Leeds are actually winning 2-0 against Crystal Palace. Jack Harrison and Patrick Bamford have both scored, and they're winning 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace. As things stand, that's a big win for Leeds. So it is, because that puts them actually, it puts them into 10th. Even though Villa have got a game in hand, which would take, and if they win that, they go into 38. But they would only go as high as 7th. But yeah, I just want to talk about, football and a bit about Liverpool in general, because I'm a big Liverpool fan and things like that. I'm sitting looking at the table going 10 points off first place. I've played a game more than the current league leaders. Are only 5 points off second place. But it's 5 points is a big 5 points to try and get back. We're 3 points off third. The game against Man City was hit and miss in a way, because there was some good points and there was a lot of bad points in my opinion. So Jurgen Klopp said the game against the Brighton that we played in the league, that we lost in, at home, we looked fatigued in that game. But I don't quite don't get me wrong, Brighton are a bit of a footballing team, and they're not one to sit back in a lot of the games. They would hit you on a break and actually like playing football. Man City, they in the first half, they were sitting back quite a bit. I don't think Liverpool expected them to do that. And I didn't expect City to sit back in the first half. I mean, the only chance that City got in the first half was the penalty, which they missed. And if I'm honest, Man City didn't create the chances that they scored with either. The only chance they scored with really was their first goal and their fourth goal. And obviously if Alisson hadn't have done the mistakes that he did, and I do, obviously, yes, he gets the blame for it because it's coming from his mistakes, but it's the defensive-minded mistakes and tactics that they made by passing the ball backwards to him. So it was like Henderson, it was Fabinho at the back. You had Robertson, you had Trent. Now Trent, I don't know what's wrong with Trent Alexander-Arnold at the minute. I mean, going forward, he still looks good going forward, but to me, he's just not. I don't know. The past couple of games I've seen him play. Now, yes, he did score against Spurs, and that's all well and good. But the past couple of weeks, that was a game, where you thought he may have kicked on from there, and the same with Liverpool as well. We played West Ham, and we won that comfortably as well. In the end, as well. You know what I mean? And we played really well, and they were the two games that everyone thought Liverpool are going to struggle, and we didn't. The games that we seemed to have struggled at recently have been at home, which is a surprise because obviously our home form over the past few years has been phenomenal. Up until, as I say, obviously we got drew against West Brom, that was, and then you got beat by Burnley and beat by Brighton, and now beat by Man City. 3 games. That's the first time in a long time we have been beaten 3 games at home in the league. And that's not good. You had Roy Keane talking on Sky Sports saying that Liverpool won't win the league the way they're playing it for another 30 years. And what I can understand where he's coming from when he says that, but at the same time I disagree with him as well, because obviously 30 years is a long time for anyone to win a league title, especially the first league title in that length of time. Secondly, what I don't understand is with Klopp, people say the Van Dijk injury has cost us or whatever. It hasn't. See, defensively, up until the game against City, on an average, we have only been letting in a goal a game. In the games that we've lost in, it's the going forward bit that's worrying. We're not scoring, we're not creating enough chances. I mean, and we're not taking them when we have them. I mean, before City even got their lead, Mane had a great chance and put it over the bar. And then he also had a great chance to equalise before we got the penalty that actually gave us the equaliser. So if you think about it, we actually had the best chances before they ran on and won the game, which seems to be comfortably. But when you take the mistakes from Alisson away, it wasn't exactly a comfortable win for them. If when you look at it from that, yes, you still have to finish the chances off. And they did, but that's because you're basically, because the keepers made the mistakes, and you put the team under pressure a bit. But I mean, that's football. I mean, how many mistakes? I mean, Alisson has not made mistakes like that for us before, and that seems to be a one-off. But I just don't. Obviously, next season's going to be a different season. You're not going to have it so tightly packed in compared to this season. And I think that's been the problem this season, more so for Liverpool than other teams, because actually, you take into consideration, you look at Sheffield United, right? They have a depleted squad because they've only got a selective, squad for their first team. Because I don't know why, but he doesn't seem to be bringing some of his players forward enough, like the younger players at Sheffield United. Whereas, Klopp uses his squad, that he announces as the team, But what I think is a bit of the problem, I honestly believe, now I could be wrong in saying this, so if anyone's listening to this and knows about this, kind of let me know if I'm wrong or not. So whenever Liverpool train, they train with intent, even in their training. And I think that's been a bit of a factor this season. More so because you're playing so many games, in such short space of time. Most of the time you're playing 3 games in the 1 week, or in 10, or at least within sort of 9 to 10 days. So we go back in the FA Cup match. So you had Manchester United against us at Old Trafford. Then you had the game against, let me see, who was it? I'm just thinking. I just need to have a wee look here in case I'm wrong. But I just want to check. Let me see. I probably would be wrong if I said it, but I just need to make sure I got the right. Let me see. Results. It's just Premier League only. Strange. It just doesn't seem to be showing any there. But it shows that. Okay. 16th of February. Yeah, that's next week. Okay. No, I was just checking because I know we played Manchester United in the FA Cup, and we played them. I can't remember if it was before the Brighton game or if it was before the West Ham game. Or was it even before the Spurs game, actually? It might have been before the Spurs game. Because there's an example, right? So you played Burnley. Now here's this is an interesting thing for me. So we played Burnley on the 21st. A week later, we played Spurs in the league. Now I think we had United on the Sunday in the FA Cup, and then we played Spurs. Yes, that's right, we did. We played Spurs. So we played United. So we played Burnley on the, I want to say Thursday, 21st, 22nd was a Friday, 23rd was a Saturday, 24th was a Sunday, 25th was a Monday, 26th was a Tuesday, 27th was a Wednesday, and then 20th. Yeah, sounds about right. And then we played West Ham on 3 days later, so we're in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're in Sunday again. And that sounds about right. So we played 4 games, 3 in the league and 1 in the FA Cup, in under 10 days. 4 games in 10 days. That's 2 games. Actually, it's 3 games in a week. Because we played Burnley, then we played United in the FA Cup, then we played Spurs. And that was... Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then... Obviously after the Spurs game, so 4 days later, we put 3 days after the Spurs game, we played West Ham, beat them. And then, first, second, third, 3 days later we played Brighton, and then 4 days after that you play Man City. So you're not, you know what I mean? So you're playing and then we play Well, we don't play until next week again. So we've got a break. We don't play until the 13th, which is the Saturday. This coming Saturday. So that's the first time in almost 2 weeks that Liverpool have actually had a break in play between. all the other ones have been like within like 2 or 3 days of each other, and I think that's the problem Liverpool have been having, because the way they train with intense, physicality training. So it's most training sessions are very hard pushing, and that, from what I gather, I might be wrong. I don't know if it's changed anything. I don't know if anything's changed since that, because I know that was what Klopp was bringing into the team, and that's what one is the Champions League, it's one is the Premier League, it's one is the Club Super Cup, it's one the UEFA Super Cup. I don't, in such a short space of time. Obviously, we've got the Champions League final before the final that we actually won. So, Klopp's taken us to what? Well, actually, if you think about it, he's taken us to 3 European finals in 3 seasons. One of them, obviously, it's been Champions League. Lost 2 of them. One is the Premier League, Super Cup, World Club Championship, the Super Cup, as well. And obviously, the Charity Shield, obviously we lost it in penalties or something like that, or whatever it was. The season that both seasons actually we lost it in penalties, lost to Man City in penalties. The season that we came second to them in the league under Klopp, whenever we won the Champions League, and then the season this current season, going as champions, we played Arsenal in the Charity Shield, and we drew it. And we drew it full time. We got beaten penalties in that as well. So, and obviously you have to be in, you can't be in the Community Shield without actually winning the league or the FA Cup sort of thing. So, to be or if, whoever finishes second, and if they've won the league and the FA Cup, so yeah. But so if you think about it, the amount of trophies that Liverpool have won over this short space of time has actually been it's been really, really good over the past couple of seasons. And Klopp did promise that he would win the league title within his 5-year term that he had previously signed up for whenever he first came to the club, and he guaranteed it. And he was right, because he knew that he would be able to do it. And we were close the season before, and I worked it out. If VAR was introduced to the Premier League in that season, because it wasn't, I worked it out. If it was used right, that is, because we know for a fact VAR has not. It's not the fact that VAR has been used right. It's the referees that are using it that aren't using it right. And it's causing mayhem among fans, supporters of football. Pundits. And the more said about it, obviously the more it's brought up in matches and things like that, because of the referees, not using it right. The referees are the ones that are getting their blame, they're getting at fault. And it is their fault, because they're doing it wrong, they're using it wrong, they're not using it in the right way. Like, there's referees that I've seen who, and there's been incidents I've seen, and I'm going, why has VAR not looked at this? Why is a referee at VAR and the VAR have not looked at this? Because it's something that I would sort of say, like, look, hit the buzzer to go to the referee to check the screen or whatever. And if the referee sees it, and if he deems it that he got it right, then that's it. And if he thinks that he got it right in his mind, but then the VAR official says he says that he doesn't think that he has, then surely the VAR referee can actually overrule the referee. But there again, it's the on-field referee's decision that's supposed to finally count in games. So, and that's the problem you're going to have. Like, there's Michael Oliver, for example, prime example. Liverpool played Everton at Goodison Park in the game where Van Dijk got injured, right? And Thiago got injured as well. And that game was September, October time. He only came out a couple of weeks ago and admitted that he was wrong and should have sent Pickford off for the tackle. And that would have been a game-changing moment, sending Pickford off, because they would have had to take someone else off. And it was so early, and it was pretty early. It was quite early on in the game as well. That happened. It wasn't as if it was like late in the second half or nothing like that. It was. Let me see. We were tucking that in. Yeah, it was well into the first. It was into the first half, and I don't I don't know how early it was on, like, and it was a close call to being offside as well. So it wasn't even like, it was a debatable offside as well. And then obviously we should have won that game, but then VAR said that Mane was offside. But when you look along the lines, and this is what gets me. So in the Premier League, the lines are like really tight. They're like that tight. Whereas like in Europe, they're like about that. There's a bigger gap between the lines, of the defensive player and the forward player. So there's a bit of leeway. If those lines were in the Premier League, it would give the attacker a bit more leeway than just a toe, if you know what I mean. So it's like, so if his toe is over that line, or if his foot, or if you can see the foot is over that line and you can clearly see that it's over the line, then yeah, fair enough, because any part of the body is offside. But I would always wish it just went back to like, it has to be more than a foot offside, like a foot offside, or half a yard, or actually not even half a yard. It has to be a yard offside to me, because the way I see it is, if you're half a yard off, you're half a yard on. So you can't say, you know what I mean? That's the way it should be. It has to be a yard off. Anything less, then he's onside. That's the way that I feel. So because I've been watching rugby as well, not recently, but anytime I've watched rugby, and rugby players pass the ball, right? So when they pass it, they throw it that way, right? So when you throw it that way, you're still throwing it forward because you're going like that. But it's the way you do it that makes it look as if it's not forward. So how many passes do you think that have not been given as a forward pass that would have been if someone was nitty gritty about it, going by every little detail? It's like, oh, let's go back to that play. Let me see, did he throw that forward? There's a millimeter forward pass there, like, do you know what I mean? So you don't get that in rugby. I mean, they go, obviously, like, they look to see, if the ball's landed for a try, to make sure if it's between the posts, all right. Everything in the build up to their try was fine. There's nothing like, there's no offside, there's no penalties and things like that. Whereas, like, in football, I've seen challenges made where they've just looked like yellow card tackles and they've been sent off. And I've seen challenges in the box where players have been grabbing their shirts, and they are supposed to look at that and go, penalty or whatever, and they haven't. I remember last season, we won the game, but we played Newcastle, and one of the Newcastle players was pulling Sadio Mane's, or was that Sadio Mane, or was it Virgil van Dijk? I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Virgil van Dijk, because I'm not sure. It was either Van Dijk or Mane, and he was being pulled, but literally by his neck, and he got a shot away, or something like that, and the keeper made the save, or something like that. And then the Liverpool players and fans were up in arms that should have been a penalty. It wasn't even looked at by VAR. If it had been, Stonewall penalty. But what I don't understand is, if we can see it on a camera angle, then what the hell are they doing at VAR? And that's what really annoys me. But that's all I want to say about that at the minute. So as I say, if you've listened, or if you listen to this live afterwards, as I say, leave comments. I will talk about this into detail again. I will want to do a Facebook Live as well, as I do them from time to time. So I hope you are having a good evening, and I'll catch you again soon. Talk soon. Bye all. Bye.